Hello, welcome to part 2 of the tree painting in watercolour. I took on board some of the requests and here we are. This is the demonstration we're going to have. So I've got the same materials as before, the 4 colours, and I have the same brushes, the same palette, some more water, and I'm using a watercolour pencil simply so that you can see, because if I used a writing pencil you wouldn't be able to see what I'm drawing very easily. So this is just to make it easier. Anyway, glasses on so I can see close up, and we'll get a close-up shot of the tree as it is at the moment from the right way up so that you can see. Okay, then you don't have to go and look at video number 1, you can look at this one. So this is dry now, and if you want to see how that went, if you missed that one, just go and look at the first video on it. And I'm just going to pop a tree in here. Again, very stylised, not trying to look like a real tree observed from nature or anything like that. This is just a bit of fun. And then this one here, do. Like that. So I'm going to just now start painting. I need to just get some water. And as before, I'm going to wet the tree, just dampen it a little bit with some water. Take care not to spill water on the tree, which is already painted and dry. Okay. And I have the same colours as before here. I left them on the palette. And I'm just going to pop some colour in as I did before, starting from the top. And you'll notice I've got the board just slightly elevated at the top. This is to help the water trickle slightly towards me and also the paint to trickle slightly towards me. Just gives me a teeny bit more control. Don't need to do anything fancy. I've just got a roll of tape under there. Sometimes I'll use a paint tin or something, you know, anything that just tucks under there and elevates it a tiny bit. So as often with watercolour, I'm starting off reasonably light, and I will make some darker colour here. A bit more blue. Trees do vary with their greens, so it's worth when you're out and about looking at trees to sort of, you know, look at that and remember it when you're painting, because if you're not painting directly from nature, it's good to actually have looked at it and remembered it and use that as your inspiration. I'm just darkening it again a little bit more, like this, coming down. And you can see the paper's got a little bit of a texture. This paper is very moderately priced paper, and it's perfectly good for this sort of fun watercolour. And having a little bit of texture, it just helps give that the impression of it being a tree with lots of leaves. I'll come back to that one and do some more to it, but I want to do the one on the left, because at the moment you're probably wondering what's going on. It may not be, you know, very clear what the plan is. This is a slightly different type of tree here. Quite stylised. This is just water, but because I've been cleaning the brush in the water, it's taken on a little bit of green. It doesn't matter because the tree's going to be green. If it was something of a different colour, I'd go and change the water. Okay, so that's nicely damp now. And I'll just show you how you actually can use some of the colours. I'm going to use the convenience colour of green, but you'll notice that with the other one, I actually mixed yellow and green together, but I'm just going to do this one fairly quickly. And it's very like the colour that I actually made on the first tree. There's an element of changing my mind going on here, where what I've sketched out is not completely what I'm deciding to paint. And I'm just looking up to the top and trying to make sure that the lower branches are just a little bigger than the ones at the top. That's the general way with trees. A bit more water in there. So that will come sort of to a point like that. Probably quite a heavy branch. It's probably going to go down a little bit. Like that. I think I'm just going to go up to the top and just slightly alter that. Okay, right, I'm going to use a smaller brush now. Put some more in. Just to make these a little bit more pointed. This sort of stylized type of look. I like to have that one, just touching that one behind. Again, thinking here about tone. So all I'm doing is using the green a little bit more concentrated. You know, it's not straight from the tube. It does have water mixed with it, but it's just at a slightly higher concentration. So the ratio of paint to water is a little bit more paint than water. And so it makes it just a tiny bit darker. There's a lot you can do with a single colour. I think sometimes people make the mistake of trying to show people watercolour initially in a very complicated and intimidating way, and this is absolutely what this is not. This is, you know, everybody can have a go, or you can just enjoy watching. Okay. Now this one has already started to dry, so I'm going to go back to this one and put a bit more blue-green in. So I've got some blue here, which I put in the palette from the tube. I wash the brush in between because I don't really want to make these colours polluted. Otherwise that yellow can't be yellow anymore in the picture. It has to be green, unless I pour more out. That's quite wasteful. So it's just worth being a little bit tidy and organised. Do a little bit more paint on this to make it a little tonal darker. Where they're close together, there will be less light. They will cast shadows upon one another, so probably quite a good idea to put that in like that. And then I'm going to take a bit of this green and mix in with it, just to give a bit of variation here. See, it's just made a slightly different green. So just exploring one colour can be really quite satisfying in art. And then to lighten it a little, just add more water to it, but don't use more paint. Sometimes people get a bit confused about that. So it's still the same amount of paint on the brush, but you've just made it a mixture where the water ratio is a bit higher and therefore it's lighter. Just pop a bit of yellow in here for a bit of glow of light. Just catching the light on there, and I quite like that being quite bluey, so I'm just going to use just blue here, quite a lot of water. And as before, I'm going to make some trunks using brown. I'm just going to pop these in. Now, as you can see, it takes a fair bit of time even to paint something simply like this and really show it to you, rather than keep clipping in and out and not really showing you what's happening. There were some requests for snow below, and yes, there will be snow below, and there will be sky, but I think that I'm probably going to finish that and post up a picture of it. I don't think it's going to be possible to film it because it's going to be quite a lot more time, and ideally I also need to leave a little bit of drying time, because if I try and paint a sky around wet trees, what will happen is the green will go into the sky. So a little bit of patience is a good idea. With the snow, what will basically happen is the white paper will be preserved and there'll be some blue shadows on there, and then there'll be blue sky. So I will put the finished picture on my links. So if you have a look at the links, you will see what they are, and you should be able to find them. Thank you very much for watching. It's always fun to do watercolour. I mean, it's really relaxing for me to do this, even though it's a demonstration. I absolutely love painting, as one or two of you have already given me feedback about that. It's obvious that I love doing this. I would love you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And I would love you to make a comment, because I do react to feedback. And see you again. Thank you very much.